Well, it is a Monday morning. It's March 6th, 2017, and once again, the world is in an uproar because North Korea has fired some missiles. Now, I want to point out something very clear. North Korea is not the only country in the world that fires missiles regularly, test firing potential weapon systems. In fact, the United States does it all the time, and yet for some reason, it's okay for the United States to test fire our missiles. It's not okay for them to test fire theirs. Why is that? Why is it that people just automatically assume that if the North Koreans are test firing a missile, it's because they want to shoot it at us? Maybe because we are test firing missiles that we clearly intend to fire at them. Look, we need to ramp things down, and yet everybody's ramping things up all the time. Constantly, we're just in this state of continuous tension. I feel like there's this churning, this broiling inside all of us. I think somebody's trying to gear us up for another war. How many wars do we need? Okay, that's a trick question. I don't think we need any wars. The fact of the matter is we've been in a continuous war footing now, nonstop since 2001, one country after another. And it's interesting how many of those countries that the United States has gone to war with happen to want out of the U.S. dollar. They want to do their business using something other than the dollar, whether it's the euro or gold or just something not our fiat currency. And that's led a number of people to speculate that this is a move by the deep state, which is a phrase that I've heard an awful lot of lately. It's a conspiracy theory kind of a position, meaning that people who talk about it are called conspiracy theorists. It's something meant to denigrate them, obviously, and say, no, you're crazy for even thinking that. The problem is not a deep state. The problem is any state. The idea that somehow somebody else gets to decide what to do with your money for your own good, whether they're talking about feeding the poor with your money or whether they're talking about shooting missiles at somebody else with your money, that's the problem, don't you think? I mean, if you had a next-door neighbor who was constantly shooting off rockets into your backyard, wouldn't you be just a little tempted to start firing rockets back into their backyard? And that, my friends, is where I think we're at with this whole North Korea thing. Is Kim Jong-un an absolute maniac? Yes. I mean, we've seen the photographs or read descriptions of them, of how he's executed people in his own government using anti-aircraft guns. He had public executions with dogs. I mean, it's crazy. The guy's a nut job, absolutely. But I've had some neighbors in the past that I would consider nut jobs, and that doesn't give me the right to go in and kick in their door and take their guns away from them. It doesn't give me the right. Obviously, I think I have the right to defend myself against him, but this idea of preemptive self-defense, I heard that phrase this weekend, not once, not twice, but 5 times. Different politicians talking about preemptive self-defense, and they've talked about it from everything from North Korea to Russia. Look, at some point, if you're acting preemptively, it's not self-defense. Do you think? I mean, seriously. If you start acting preemptively toward everybody that might want to hurt you, what does that make you? Seriously, I just want to consider for a moment that maybe instead of looking at everybody as a potential enemy, and instead of trying to defend ourselves before they do anything, that we actually, stop. Okay, does that sound idealistic to you? Does that sound a little too altruistic? Again, people always come back and they say, well, somebody was trying to get into your yard, Steve. Look, somebody getting into my yard, somebody coming into my home is a far cry different than somebody crossing over the imaginary borderland that somebody has just simply drawn on a map somewhere and says, this belongs to us. When you're crossing into private property, you're trespassing. When you're fleeing from a repressive regime and you cross over an imaginary line somewhere in your efforts to get away, then I think that qualifies as a true refugee. A lot of different issues that I'm touching on today, and I'm sorry to be so scatterbrained, but I want to bring it back to, once again, this main issue. North Korea fired some missiles. So what? Did they hit anything? Was anybody hurt? No, let's not start a war over it. That's my 2 cents. I'd love to engage you. Send me an email, steve@radiofreespeech.com. And, of course, I'd love to have your support either by a direct subscription at the website radiofreespeech.com or by Patreon. You can actually contact me by email as well if you'd like to learn how to do it without using a credit card. Steve at radiofreespeech.com. Thanks.